Welcome everybody to Snake Cinema Reviews. I am your host Prince Elias and this is Stitch joining us today. And today we're reviewing Netflix's brand new, like just dropped today, brand new movie, like Boys in the Band. Yes. And it's starring Jim Parsons, Matt Bomer, Charlie Carver, I think. Trying not to butcher people's names. My favorite, Zachary, Quinto, and a slew of others. And this is actually based off a play, a Tony Award winning play that I've never heard of until today when I did the research for the movie, and I've never seen. So I'm sorry, but this review is not going to compare and contrast the play from the film because I never knew that play existed. So I never seen it. And I probably wouldn't have seen it even if I knew it existed because Broadway. But anyways, it's produced by Ryan Murphy, the White Gay King, and directed by Joe Mantello. So again, it's based off an award-winning play. I've never seen it, so I can't compare and contrast what's different and what's the same. But I can say, and I'm gonna go ahead and get the negative out the way, because this isn't a bad review, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get the negative out the way first. It feels like it's based off a play, and what I mean by that is it's a lot of talking, a lot of exposition, and not enough action for my taste when it comes to films. I feel like a lot of more action could have happened had the director switched it up a little bit, changed it up a little bit more. But unfortunately, it seems like they shot it as if they were on a stage play in Broadway or whatever. They were on stage instead of in film. And so that I can say that had I not known prior to watching the film that it was based off a play, I would probably be like, yo, this feels like a play instead of a movie, a full-length film. And some of the dialogue, even though they're using the source material, which I can't knock anybody for using source material, but some of the dialogue does seem a bit poetic in a way instead of, you know, just talking regular people, you and me, like acting should. So that's my only negative, my only gripe, my only complaint is that it does feel like a play because it's more exposition, more talking, more everything in one scene before it goes to the next scene, and less action. And it's very apparent because unlike other Broadway plays turned to film, most Broadway plays turned to film are musicals, and it's easier to transition into film in a musical format, in my opinion. But this one, because it's not a musical, it's straight up dialogue. You can just tell. You can just tell that this was based off a play instead of being based off, let's say, a book or just someone's screenplay, a script that they just came off the top of the dome. It looked like it was meant for the stage and not for a full-length feature. That is my only gripe. That is the only negative or knocking points off. But besides that, this is a great ass movie. I loved it. One of the biggest cons, I mean not cons, sorry, tongue-tied. One of the biggest pros that I love is that it is mainly cast by predominantly gay or bi men. They have one black, one Hispanic, and the rest are white, but most of the cast are either gay, openly gay, or openly bisexual, and known, like, not hiding in the closet, stuff like that. So I like that. I like when films about a certain group of people are acted predominantly by those group of people, like Pose, for example. Ryan Murphy also produced that. Pose is about trans people, black trans women, and it's predominantly acted by black trans women, women of color, instead of just constantly hiring straight actors to play these roles. They're actually giving people in the community those roles. So I love that most of this cast are either straight or bi males. And Another great aspect is the acting. Even though, yes, I did say it feels like it's based off a play, it is acted so well, which is why I forgive it for feeling like a play and not like a movie. Because the acting, the charisma with these characters feel like, okay, let me give you a quick synopsis without spoiling anything in case you've never heard the play like me and you didn't know anything about this story. It's basically about a group of 6 men getting together, celebrating one of their friends' birthdays at an apartment, and an unexpected visitor pops up and like ruins the whole thing, and hell breaks loose. And because the visitor is supposedly straight, and this has happened in the, when was this based? In the 1968. So back in the day where you couldn't be out, don't ask, don't tell, people would lose their jobs in apartments for being gay. So, you know, you have a house full of gay men having a party celebrating someone's birthday, being interrupted by a straight man who just came out of nowhere. And of course, the straight man is so homophobic, and all hell breaks loose. So I'm not going to go into depth after that. That is all the synopsis you're getting, because that's all the synopsis that Netflix gave us. And so you have to go in. I want you to go in blind. I want you to go see this film because it is so good. It is so good. Despite the one negative I have towards it, it is so good because the acting, the top actors, my favorite characters were Jim Parsons' character. I believe it was Michael. Of course, Zachary Quinto as Harold. He was phenomenal. He cracked me up from the time he stepped foot on the scene. That man's charisma and stuff. I love him in everything he pops up in. Whenever he shows up and do like a small scene or a small cameo in American Horror Story, I just be happy and giddy. Every time I see him pop up in a movie or something, I just love him as an actor. He just has so much charisma and style and flair, and I feel like this role of Harold was perfect for him. And also, who played Emery, Robin de Jesus, I believe. He was the Hispanic one in the group. He was amazing. I loved him. He cracked me up. And even when it got to the emotional drama part, his character was just amazing. I loved him. So those were my 3 standout actors in the movie. But of course, everybody in the film was amazing. I do feel like, as a Matt Bomer fan, I feel like his character was very small and minor. Even though he was in the film the whole time, his speaking parts weren't that much. And we didn't really go into deep depth with his character backstory like we did other characters. They gave us little glimpses here and there, but it wasn't like we didn't get to know him as much in the film. But that's probably how the play was written. It's probably just how that character is, just a side character that's just a side character. But I loved everybody in this film. I loved the casting, the costuming, the cinematography. It was amazing. And the fact that I only had one negative about this film, the positives outweighed it to the point where I do recommend this to people. Even if gay media, gay cinema isn't your thing because you have some underlying issues with yourself, I feel like this was good. Like, even especially for this to be produced by Ryan Murphy, y'all know how camp and dramatics and crazy Ryan Murphy can get with his stuff like American Horror Story. Y'all know how nasty he can get. This was very tame, and I think because of the source material, he had no choice. He couldn't overly do it. He couldn't overly camp it. He couldn't make it to where you just saw sex scenes every 5 minutes. He couldn't treat this like American Horror Story or like Pose with his signature Ryan Murphy style, because 1, he wasn't the director, and 2, he didn't write it. It's based off a play. So I feel like it was very tame, and yes, it is rated R, but I feel like it was very tame. I think the rated R was pretty much for the language and the fact that it was a story centered around gay men, honestly. Because it really felt tame, but it felt good. Again, it felt like a play. It felt like it was based off a play, but the acting was so good, and I was so engulfed and invested in these characters that I didn't mind that, you know, it just felt weird. I didn't mind the weirdness. I got used to the stage aspect of it all, the play aspect of it all. again, it's kind of tough, and that's the reason why I kind of give it a pass. One, because of the great acting and everything and the great direction, but I kind of give it a pass because had this been a musical, we wouldn't be saying, oh my gosh, it feels like it came from a play. But because it had more dialogue than action, you know, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry, but I love it. I recommend it. It was a great watch. It was 2 hours, but it didn't feel like it. To me, it felt like it ran straight through. I didn't realize it was 2 hours till I looked at the description on Netflix to write all the information down that I need to write. But it's good. I recommend it. Try it out. Test it out. If it's not for you in the beginning, the first 10 minutes might seem a little bit jarring because, again, it feels like it's a stage play and not a movie. I understand and I get it, but I feel like you should give it a try and just keep watching because it is so good. It is so good. You're gonna love the characters, especially when the friends come in to start celebrating the birthday party. You're gonna love this film, in my opinion. I do. But if you already seen it, it just came out today. Today is September 30th and it just came out today. So let me know if you have seen it already, or if you're going to see it. Have I convinced you in any way? Let me know. Comment below, like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next review. I'm Prince Elias. This is Stitch, and this is Snake Cinema Reviews. Bye.